business, like we are a recruiting business, and we always, talk about recruiting and PRs, and definitely office wouldn't exist without that. But when I think about driving a sales organization, driving productivity, one of the most important things is event-to-event attendance. And whether it's team meetings, which we're going to hit on that specifically, or any other event, coming to a conference, going to SLDM, like as you get them to event management is one of the easiest ways to keep your people around, especially when someone's a newer manager and might not be as capable, might not be able to teach their people or know how to develop their reps necessarily. If you can promote a meeting properly in a way that reps are excited to want to come to it, it's going to help you develop it, because the lead managers, division manager, whoever's speaking, they'll do it all for you. I think about in the team meeting, obviously it's a little bit different where you don't have necessarily the top DM speaking, or but you can still promote it in the same way. Like your office is the office whenever you talk about it. Your people are some of the best in the nation. You guys have there, and you should be promoting always, being around people like Chad and Frank, and whenever they have a chance to meet them, you guys who have ran offices, Jacob, who was one of the top managers in Louisiana, moved from Louisiana to Corpus Christi to really develop the area and really building that up. So the first thing I'm going to put here is it starts in training, all right? And you could even take it further and say it starts in the interview with how you build up whoever is the trainer and the team. So when you're in the interview and you say, hey, we have one of the top teams in the country, or hey, our goal is to break the all-time Corpus Christi record. We've broken the last 2 summers, so the biggest summers in the company here, and excited to really have a killer fall team and build momentum into 2017 to take down some records. And so just building, like, when you talk about the team, is this a team they want to be a part of? So I think about, just that desire of them wanting to be a part of it. When you build up the trainer, that they're excited about that. Now, when they come to training, when you're talking in training about how we support our people, and just the support that we have here, I always, mention, I go, we have team meetings when you talk about PDI, PCs, just different ways that we have accountability and support for them, I talk about, and like team meetings are incredible. We get together once a week to really share success in the office, but also get to hear tips from some of the top people, in our office, in our division, in our region, and some of the top national champions that we have right here within our organization. And just sharing, be like, think about if you played, and you guys could pick any sport, but I always like to use a sports analogy when I talk about like team meetings. But like, imagine if you so back in the day, imagine if you played basketball, right? And you had the opportunity to actually work out or practice with the Miami Heat once a week. And so you could go and practice with them. And not only practice with them, but hang out afterwards and just ask questions and be like, yeah, Dwayne Wade, can you help me with, my 3-point shot? Or can you help me with dribbling or whatever? And Ray Allen, he'll help you with threes. And then, hey, can you help me, Bosh, with this or that? And you just have them accessible to you. Wouldn't that be incredible? I bet people would pay a lot of money to have that kind of access. And guys, you have that here, in the Cutco world, and you don't even have to pay for it. You have free access. Every week we get together the top people to share success, to share what's happening. And those of you who really take advantage of this job and really take advantage of your resources, I would come to those ready to ask questions, ready to take notes, because again, you have free access to them. And people like Frank, like Chad, like Jacob Gonzalez, Miranda, like these people, they'll coach other people, like our top representatives across the country, like they coach people and they charge for it. And so again, you're getting free access to some of the best information. And so whether they've been coached by others or they're personally the ones that are the experts in that field, take advantage of that. So you want to make sure you're just building that up, in training. Like my guys are like, oh, and I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, our top people, like we look forward to every week getting together. I'm like, so at the team meetings, we do all the recognition. We go through regional reports, national reports, who's doing what. We'll always give some tips to help you guys in success. Then afterwards, whether that night or Thursday nights after our phone gym, we have our team nights. And that's a chance to just like really be able to hang out and connect. So for those who really want to take it to the, who really want to succeed, take advantage of the things that we have in place. So when you guys, again, talk about PDI, PCs, like all these things, but we have things to support you guys. Many companies and in other places, people pay to have personal coaches, right? So when I talk about PDI, it's another thing where I'm like, people pay to have a personal coach, right? People pay to have a trainer. Why do people pay to have like a trainer, whether it's a debate coach or a personal trainer, or even some of the top athletes? They have their own trainers or coaches. Why do they pay to do that? And they'll be like, oh, they want to be the best. I'm like, yeah, they want to be the best. They pay to have that. And so you guys have that, again, with our management team, with our team leaders. You have that for free. And these guys are there to guide you, to coach you, to give you consultation. And so, again, on our Wednesday meetings, all right, can you guys still hear me? Can you guys still hear me? Not if you can hear me. Okay. So, all right, cool. So anyway, people pay.
Can you hear us?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. So people pay, pay money to have coaches, to have access. So again, you guys have access in the form of personal daily, coaching, anything you need, review stats from the day before. That's also how you clock in and out, which we'll talk about. You can have personal consultations and schedule a time to get an hour with one of our managers and get help and assistance there. And then you have our team meetings where you get a chance to, we all work together, we get stuff done together, we'll make, book our weeks up together, celebrate together. And it really helps be like, with that team camaraderie, and so a lot of our guys, we work individually, but once a week we get a chance to get everyone from blank town and blank town and blank town. And I always talk about how we have people all over. And so my guys don't come here every day, but once a week we get a chance to all come together, or twice a week we get a chance to all come together and do that. So when they're in training, they're already like, oh, I can't wait to go to the team meeting. Like they're excited to go to the team meeting because they get a chance to meet all the team, celebrate in success, get recognized, and be able to like build friendships and relationships. Because during the team, you guys should be making it fun. And we're going to talk about the team meeting itself, but you should be splitting up into teams. They should be competing with each other. They should be having a good time. And that's their chance to build those friendships and those relationships. And then you're able to, bring them to whether you do team night that night or the next night or whatever it is. So there's just promotion that goes towards it. Also, on PDI, in advanced training, like when I talk in advanced training, I'm like, oh, and this Wednesday you get a chance to come to your first team meeting. Be like, I love team meetings. It's a chance for us to all work together. It's a chance for us to share in success together. It's a chance for us to just build those relationships. And, how cool is it to be working out next to somebody who's already an expert and be able to get tips and stuff from them, and be able to get help. But it's cool. It's motivation. Like you could work out on your own. You could do your calls. You could do your work on your own. But it's a lot easier when you're doing it together. It's like going to the gym. Like you could work out on your own, but when you're working out in a group, it's more fun and you get more done, and you're also like being challenged and competing. Like it's good, friendly competition that we have. We really have a good time doing that together. So again, a lot, and I say this because when it comes to driving attendance, is there a desire on their part to want to come to the meeting? All right, are they excited to meet people? Are they excited, for what's going to happen? So I always say in our team meetings, we share in success. We do all of our recognition for the office, divisionally, regionally, and national. We go through all of the reports. We go through our scholarship standings, and we celebrate in success together. We get work done together, and there's always a small workshop to make sure our guys are always improving, are always honing their skill sets. So, it's just a great time to learn from some of the best and get work done together as we go towards achieving our goals. And again, if you built up the team in the interview, like they're excited to be a part of that team, a team that builds each other, a team that encourages each other, a team that challenges each other. So that's real big. So now as we get closer, like in terms of as a manager, it's important to plan ahead, okay? Meetings need to be planned ahead of time, and it's preparation. I was talking to the DMs about this, a couple different DMs actually, and I talked to Jacob as well, but I said, when you want to run great meetings, like they have to see that you put time, like you have to prepare for it. Like PowerPoints are awesome. I strongly recommend having a PowerPoint or a keynote. That's something I spent an hour on every week and just updated it. Once you have a structure, which I have old ones, I have to find them. I know Mary Lou made her own, like in a little video version. Some of you guys have seen it when you come and cross train, but we had a keynote. And so we put people's pictures up. We put up the new reports each week, like when they come out on Tuesdays, they come in like the national reports and everything. And all the stuff that came out on Friday, like the stats for the standings, Silver Cup standings, scholarship standings, all those things, like we want to use is want to recognize those. So like that's a team meeting, and there it's like a little mini division meeting, you know. If you don't have a PowerPoint or a TV in your office, you know, print out the reports and highlight people's names on it. I love, one of the things that for years I always show the national sales report. Like that's me, I always did. And even tonight, I mean, like, I know we weren't doing that, and there's stuff that I need to see what's happening, you know, here in our office in West Houston. But national reports are fantastic to just open people's eyes to what's possible. And it's like, hey, I'm not sure if you guys looked on Vector Connect on your own, if you saw like what the top reps for the week, the top CSPs for a week, but look at what's happening out there. You know, I think it's pretty awesome that Matt Graves last week sold, and I don't know if he did or not, but at $18,000. Guys, he makes 50% commissions, $9,000. Like, how crazy is that? And again, it excites them about the opportunity and what's available. So by having those reports and being able to show those, it creates its credibility in terms of this job is legit. People can make money and make a living. You know, when I see people up there and I'm like, they made 15 grand last week. They made 20 grand last week. I'm like, that's crazy. Some people make that working all year. And our Cutco sales professionals, you know, like our top people earn that in a week. So I think that's pretty awesome to have an opportunity where people can, you know, really build a life through Cutco with Cutco. So take time as a manager to prepare ahead of time. So whether you do a keynote or you print out reports, you highlight names. I used to also, whether you do certificates for the reps or you just print out a page that has their name on it and write a quick little note and say, hey, great job, Johnny. You know, excited to see you get to key staff. You know, boom, keep up the consistency or whatever it is. Like, can you write a little note to them? So again, running great meet, it takes preparation. Like in my schedule for years, it was like, okay, Tuesdays, who's preparing the team meeting? And there was a list of the reports that they needed to print out and make sure that we had in place so that we got them all done on Tuesday. Everything was set on Tuesday for Wednesday. You know, and Wednesday morning, I'd take an hour, make sure everything looks good, and then boom, we're ready to roll. So we can make sure that we had a great event. So again, up to you guys how you want to do it. But I strongly recommend, you know, Keynote or PowerPoint, and I recommend, you know, writing a little note on something that has their name on it, because they put that in their books, you know, and they show their customers. They love that. So those are really powerful things for, you know, preparation for the meeting. And then letting them know, like, who's going to be speaking, what's happening ahead of time. So something that some of you guys might have heard during the meeting, and know, like, Dan Cassetta talked about, he'd have his key staff plan like the next 6 team meetings. Like they'd sit down and map out the next month in terms of what they're going to talk about, what they're going to do, and then just leave a spot for open based on what the team needed that week, right? And they knew who was going to wrap up, they knew, and people were put in place so they were ready to deliver, all right? So you can map those out ahead of time. You know, I say at least a week out, like right now, at this week's staff meeting, like next week should already be planned. So when we're talking to people, be like, hey, and by the way, we're gonna have Chad speaking on da-da-da. Like, don't miss that. It's gonna be freaking awesome. So you're building up like whoever's gonna be whoever the lesson of the day is, you know, the tip of the day. Like there should be a 15, 20-minute lesson each week. And whether it's life related or it's Cutco related, like something where they're constantly growing. And then the wrap up could actually always be something that's like personal growth to, you know, focus. And that's a 5, you know, to 10-minute wrap up that one of you gives from something from a book, something that adds value so that people are learning and they leave inspired and motivated and they want to be a part of that. Like, man, every time I come here, I feel good. I get refocused. I get recognized. I get work done, and I take a nugget that I can implement into my life, you know? So as far as team meeting, the actual team meeting itself, I think about just recognition. So again, I like to do all the national reports and like what's hot and what's happening out there. So I go national, and then I go regional newsletter, and then I go office. That's how I always did it from biggest to smallest, even though sometimes some of our guys were on the national reports, which was awesome. But I always went national standings for the week, regional standings for the week, office standings and then I did, for the campaign, then I'd show Silver Cup standings, scholarship standings. So you can do whatever order, whatever flows, but just recognizing everyone. So it's a constant like, oh, Johnny did this, you know, top sellers, promoting Consistency Club. So my slides were all the things I wanted to promote. So Consistency Club, I wanted to promote, you know, scholarship. I wanted to promote top field trainers. I wanted to promote PRs. So those were all different slides, and just recognizing the top people in each of those. And the Eastern region, our newsletter actually had like field training, consistency, like all those were there. So I just kind of screenshotted it and I would put them there. But making sure you guys recognize everyone from your office. And you can even use the rollover report, and I would just put everyone from 500 to like 999, like the ones that didn't get on the newsletter, but they were over 500. We always recognize the focus 500. You know, it's like, hey, these guys went on the newsletter, but you know, definitely made it. I'd call them role players, like anyone who turned in unorder. So from 0 to 499 is like role players, and then you know, team players or whatever. I can't remember the names. I have to look at the slides, but it was like. At 0, it was from one knife, you know, to 499 was a slide recognizing everyone who turned in unorder. From 500 to 999, you know, the guys who are key players, and then our newsletter, you know, who would be kind of like the lineup, you know, who really led the charge. So making sure everybody who turned in something, and it's like the guys who are under the newsletter, hey, next week, excited to see some of you guys jumping onto the newsletter, you know, and really being the top performers. So it's all recognition, and then, you know, what's up, what's coming up, you know, so there's always a couple minutes on, you know, where we're at now, what's coming up next. And it's like, hey, here's where we at for our goal for the fall. You know, next week, our goal is to sell $15,000. And so what that's going to take is we need 7 people on the newsletter. So this week right now, we've got Gonzalez, he's going for the newsletter. We've got RJ going for the newsletter. We've got Anita, and we need, you know, 4 more people, you know, whatever it is. And so you're whoever is going for the book, and you could say we need 5 new guys on the newsletter, you know, who's going for 1,000 or more. And the people that you already know are in their fast start, like I'll promote, I'm like, I know Johnny's going for like a 4K week. I know Susie's going for a 6K week. I know so-and-so's going for their fast 10K fast start, like go for it. You never get your fast start back. I'm like, go, go, go. And after this week, we'll make a normal schedule where most of our guys work 2 or 3 days a week, and just make sure we're keeping you on the newsletter. And so some of you will want to keep your string of $1,000. Some of you guys will want to keep your string of 2,000. Some will be keeping your string of 3,000 or more, but we'll make a plan that works for you. So I just share what the goal is for sales for the week, what it's going to take. You know, we need to book 100 demos. Here's our goal for demos for tonight. You know, making sure you have it up on the board so there's a countdown. I like having teams, so we've been splitting up. You know, we'll split people up into teams. This is split up by demos per day. Whatever you want to do, but just having their names up, having a team total. So if you split the team into 2 teams and say, all right, it's, you know, RJ's team versus Anita's team. And for the phone jam, and each team's goal is to book up 25 demos or more, and the winning team, you know, you guys can do fun things. Like somebody's just pride. You're just like, all right, let's see what team. And I'm like, we got to beat them. We got to beat them. Sometimes they set contests where they're like, oh, if you beat us, you have to pay for an appetizer, and everyone pitched in $1, you know, to pay for the other people's appetizer at a team night. But you don't have to do that. It's just fun competing of like, hey, we want to beat them for the week and be the top team. By the way, that's one of the things with recognition when you're doing teams is you recognize the teams in order. So if you guys have 4 like little teams, and you're like, the caboose of the train is, you know, and you're like coming in 3rd place, coming in 2nd place, and the number 1 team for last week are the Orange Blossoms. Blah. And then they're like, yeah, and they're like are super excited that like they were the number 1 team. And you're like, guys, we got to be number 1 every week. We are not letting Jacob beat us. Da, da, da. And it's just fun. Like they just get tied into like, you know, being part of the winning team, and then the person who's the caboose, but guys, we cannot be the caboose. Like, let's go. We got to step it up for the phone jam tonight, you know, whatever it is, so that they're excited to like make calls. And now when you split up into the teams, like whatever, each goal might be 10 demos, you know, per team that everybody's going for. But you're just like, got one. All right, boom, high five, got one, you know, and you're phoning with your guys, even if it's just you plus 1 to start off, and then it's you plus 2, and then it's you plus 3. But you're phoning with them, and you're like high-fiving. There's energy. There should be music on. There should be bells dinging or something, you know. But it's like, got one, you know, and be like, Jacob's going down. Or like make it fun. Like talk trash to each other, like your team versus the other team. And you're just like, RJ's going down. RJ's all going. And they're like, and they're just laughing. Like, no, you're not. Whatever. And it like motivates them to keep like working or making calls. So make it fun. Fun inter-office competition. Pride for the top team. You can do something, you know, where it's like the top team for the campaign gets, you know, whatever at the park, or you guys go on the boat, or you guys do something fun, or you say, hey, anyone who has consistency, if a team wins 4 weeks in a row, like that team, like they're number 1 4 weeks in a row, they get a payoff of some sort, you know? And so it makes them want to keep being the number 1 team. and hopefully someone else knocks them out, so they have to start all over. But 4 weeks in a row, and you get blank payoff, So it's just recognition. Here's where we're at. Here's the goal for tonight. Boom. Let's break up into teams, and everybody goes to phone. You might have a lesson if it's, if it's a phone message, or more, you might want to plug it in there for 10, 15 minutes and then break into phones. And then after phones is when we'd regroup, do a 15-minute lesson, and then a wrap up for 5 to 10 minutes, after you do your sign up. So for team meeting though, what your objective of team meeting, guys, is to get people together, to get them to recognize them, make them feel good, and get them excited about hitting their goals for that week. So taking, either staying consistent or taking their performance higher. And so we're there to work together, to learn together. And so everyone's going to be, making phone calls, doing work. And then for you guys as managers, it's to get signups to the next events. So you should have a PC sign up that's ready to go. You should have a field training sign up. And you can make one by hand, which just has like name. Then I had date, time, and location, and then I had trainee. So you can go around RJ and tell her, like, hey, put your demos here, put your demos. So whatever demos you already know, have them there. And as a top guy, set up their demos. Say, hey, write your demo here, write it down here, so we can see who can go field training with you. So at the end, when you guys regroup, we do final field training. So during the phone jam, you can go around and get signups for field trainings. You can go around and get signups for campus. So campus the next week, whenever you guys are gonna be at tables. We have campus signups, we have field training signups, we have PC signups, and then we have a phone jam signup, right? So for the Thursday night phone jam, or any workshops that are happening, all right? So if it's Thursday night, Saturday morning, breakfast of champs, whatever, that's all there. So you want phone jam signups, field training signups, campus signups, and PC signups. All right, so those are things that you want. So during the phone jam, there should be people on sign-up duty, all right? And as you're building up, it could be one person right now that's doing all of them, or as you get reps, like, hey, can you take 10 minutes? And you have them go around and, they're in charge of getting campus signups. Like, hey, you want to earn some free Cutco? Hey, come help us on campus. And they let people sign up. But again, this takes preparation, just having those done beforehand. So that's part of having everything ready for the team meeting. So when they come in, you can make sure you maximize that. You should also have a status on the board that they, an example of something that they can put on social media for what and that should always switch up of what they post up for their friends. So right now I would post something like, hey, my job has 1 to 5 week positions available, earn some income for the holidays. Let me know if you might be looking for some part-time work, or, what, like, we'll switch to that, like, come now in October. But I even told some of them tonight, they could say that, hey, if you're looking for maybe some holiday cash, some part-time work this fall, my job has some openings, $16 starting pay, super flexible. So they can take a quick video of themselves, send it to people on Snapchat. They can post something on Insta and share it on everything. But I want to get PRs. So that's what I'm doing here in the team meeting. So when they launch out to Phone Jam during that time, I'm one person, plus a helper is driving PRs. Like, I'm getting PRs from people. So going around, and you can have a receptionist like, hey, who do you have that we can call so we can have them for the cruise? Hey, did you put a status up already? Oh, can you do that real quick? Or can you comment on your own from Tuesday, or whatever it is. So just getting PRs, the other person's getting signups, the other person, whatever's happening. But it's all signups, high fives, energy. I do tickets for everything they book. So every demo is 1 ticket. That's how we always did it. Every PR was 2 tickets. And we would do a drawing, like when we regrouped at the end, we do a drawing. And the drawings consisted of like a table knife tray and a koozie that cost $2 and a vegetable peeler, so they could get more recommendations on their demos or whatever. We just pull out a prize. And so we do like 2 prizes. Sometimes it was a Starbucks gift card, but I just do $5 gift cards. So that's it. I buy like a pack. They have packs, Jacob, of like 4 gift cards. It's $20 and it's 4 $5 gift cards. So that's 4 different weeks that you can do like drawings, So just doing cheap things like that to make it fun. So those are just some quick keys. I'm going to stop talking and open it up to you guys for questions, clarity, anything else that you want to expand on.
How to unmute. I have a question. So if you were to categorize the team meeting into like 3 to 4 roles that each person could do. So like, obviously there's one person in charge of signups. There's someone in charge of running the phone jam. What roles would you play?
Well, everybody should be, if you're in teams, you should be driving your team in terms of the phone jam. But you can have a jam lord who's high-fiving and, marking things off on the board for them. If you have that extra person, I like having the jam lord. All they're doing is going around handing out. They're the ones that are handing the tickets. So they booked one, high five, here's your ticket, high five, so they're like just manning it, keeping the energy going and giving tickets or whatever you're doing. And that person is also the same person who can be getting phone jam signups for Thursday. Hey, by the way, if you're not totally booked up today, what time are we going to see you tomorrow? Or you're going to be here on Saturday. And so having your phone jams already there lined up. Then you have somebody who's, they can do PCs and field trainings together. Then I would have someone else, and again, it could all be one person, but even a rep that does like campus and you teach them how to get people excited, or it's one of you guys getting the campus signups. So and by the way, that'll just take them like 15 minutes. Like during the phone jam, they'll go around to everybody and go, hey, what's your schedule look like? Hey, we're going to be at, at A&M, or hey, we're going to be at Del Mar. And so letting them know, be like, hey, are you able to help for an hour while we're on campus? So going around to each person one-on-one and getting the campus signups. And then you can put those on the board, but that person's like focused on getting that. That could be anybody that's getting those signups. Like I literally just have a rep help me with that. So someone doing that, someone's doing, PCs and field training, which can also be a rep, but you have to coach them on like, hey, you want to get some free help? You can go watch someone do an appointment. You can sit down with one of the managers and get one-on-one focus on whatever topic you want to focus on to help you elevate your performance. And they're like, oh, cool. So teaching them that, or one of you guys is doing that, and then somebody's doing phone jam, and then the DM or head managers, you should be just driving PRs from your top guys. Check their schedules, make sure they're set up for success, and say, hey, who else can I meet? Who else can I meet? And just you're talking to PRs during that phone jam.
Questions from you guys?
What do you feel? Huh?
How much preparation normally does it take for one team meeting?
What do you think? 2 hours preparation for a team meeting?
Well, I mean, however long your meeting takes is however long you should spend.
Who's there too?
Huh?
I said however long your meeting takes is that's how much time you should take preparing it.
Mary Lou said however long your team meeting is how long it usually takes preparing it.
Any talk, any message, ever.
Any talk, any message. That's her take on it. But I mean, doing the keynote and uploading all that, depends how fast you are, takes 30 minutes.
I would say the whole process, if you have a keynote skeleton and you're just updating it and then you're printing reports, I mean, it wouldn't take me longer than 35 minutes. I used to do that in Miami.
She used to do that in Miami. It would take 30, 40 minutes to update all the reports and print everything out.
Unless it's summer, then it takes you an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't really take very long at all, actually.
What do you feel takes the most time?
If you're doing top 10 and stuff, figuring out CPOs, that's it.
Yeah, so whoever's doing because we do top 10 for the campaign and we update it each week with last week's tabs plus what was on Rolo for this week. So I always had someone add up and do the top 10 for the week. So we always had a board and we'd move people around for top 10. So that's a really good thing. And by the way, this is some stuff we haven't even been doing here in the pilot, but I know this is stuff that drives great meetings. So just a lot of recognition, but we have our top 10. So they have a lot of fun with that. And it's just see ya, when they got kicked out of the top 10 or they got moved around and everyone got into that. So we updated the top 10 each week. And then, I don't know. I mean, I say the most, it's printing stuff out. It's writing notes, right? If you're writing the notes, if you're really putting together a good meeting, I feel like it would take me an hour and a half to 2 hours. So the keynote and printing out everything is 30, 40 minutes, getting stats together. And you don't have to do all of that. Different people, I'd have someone get the top 10 and everything together for me. But I would do update the keynote. And then later Mary Lou was updating the keynote. But that was my thing. And then I'd finish it up at the end how I wanted it. So if I had a quote that I wanted to put up there or whatever I wanted to do, but if you want to write notes to people, if you want to prepare a certain message, but if you're a one-man show with no help, plan on an hour and a half to 2 hours. It'll take you an hour and a half to make sure you have everything put together. If you have help, you guys can split up duties of hey, you work on the keynote, hey, you print out the stuff, hey, you write letters, make sure we have all the signups together, you know, and we're ready to go. And whoever's giving the message, they'll prepare their talk. Anita.
So, I'm gonna club that these. Oh, sorry. As far as like what speaking recognition should you do it in the beginning of team meeting or towards the end?
I like recognition in the beginning because it gets them excited and in a good state to jump into their phone jam. And during the recognition and everything, I'm showing them the bigger reports. I'm showing them the national reports. So they're like, whoa. And I'm like, how sick is that? I'm like, that's what we're excited about helping you guys. Getting consistent, increasing your career sales, and getting people on these reports up here, you know? But it's exciting. Like when I see that and I'm like, they made how much? Oh my gosh, you know, and like it makes me more excited to make phone calls.
So what is the order of your team meeting? It's recognition and then phone calls
And then wrap up with like a quick teaching and a motivation is what it typically was. I mean, it's changed at different times where we did like made calls and then did the, you know, recognition and all that, and then made calls and didn't have a wrap up. Yeah. Depends when your team meeting is, but I like doing all the recognition. And when we're doing 4 to 7, I like doing all the recognition and even a teaching from like 4 to 5, and then they jump on the phones and go hard, and then you can do like a wrap up later. It depends how long your team meeting and when it is. If it's later at night or if it's earlier, how you want to do it. You know, I did recognition, and then we'd phone, and then we do like a 15-minute huddle and mingle, or we teach something, and then we get back on the phones, and then we'd wrap up. But then when we changed it to earlier, I stopped doing the wrap up at the end because I wanted people to keep phoning if they needed to keep phoning, and if people had to leave earlier, they did. So we kind of did the whole team meeting in the beginning from like 4 to 5, 5:15, 5:30, and then hopped on the phones. But I don't know, there's like pros and cons of all of them, but definitely recognition before phone calls, launching that into phone calls is a very powerful thing.
Yeah, and how long does your team meeting stay? And do you ever like run past time?
I give them 3 hours. It's like an hour, hour and 15 of recognition, talking, teaching, wrap up, and however you do it. If it's 45 minutes in the beginning, 30 minutes at the end. And then I like to have an hour and a half to 2 hours of phone calls. I want them to make 50 calls.
Do you ever like run past time?
No?
But even if we did, people liked being there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If the people want to leave, then that means it's a bad team meeting.
Yeah.
No one really cared.
Yeah, people like, they're making phone
Cathy,
calls.
we used to have team meeting end at 9:45, and Cathy would start wrapping up at like 9:40, and then we'd leave like at 10:30.
Yeah, when we had our night team meetings, I'd go off on tangents and we'd be there super late, but everyone was just like engaged and listening, and then we go to team night after. That's when we did our 6 to 9 team meetings. Actually, we did 4 hours.
It was 6:30 to 9:30.
6:30 and
Or
9.
6 to 9:30. But people would get there early for key staff to do a key staff before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's different ways. Like that doesn't specifically matter. It has to do with your schedule when you do it. What matters is people are recognized. They're thinking bigger. All right. They feel good about what they did, or they're excited about what they can do. They have some tools, and then you have fun competition, making phone calls together and setting up for success. You have tools in place to get signups so that you can get them signed up for PCs, field trainings, phone jams, and whatever the next things are that are going to help them in success. And they leave feeling good and motivated, you know, like in terms of what's just something that stimulated them. So whether it's an excerpt from a book, it's a motivational talk on like how we're going to dominate the push, whatever it is. Like think about a wrap up, right? At any meeting we go to, it should leave you like, hell yeah, let's go, you know? And something we like to do in Miami is we always wrapped up by having someone read our mission statement out loud. And then we'd do our team chant and everybody would roll. And it was just a really positive way to end. And so they would get up there and, you know, read our mission statement, which I don't even know what the hell our mission statement is here.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. So, and you guys can sit around, can I have it? You guys can sit around and put yours together of what you wanted to say. And mine was a combination of, two other ones that I had heard, plus my guys and I all brainstorming together at Key Staff. And we changed it from we, the Dade County Dynasty, to we, the West Houston Warriors. But this is my office. And we say, we, the West Houston Warriors, are a passionate, motivated group of leaders who embody excellence, integrity, and honor. We are focused on developing a team of young professionals that seeks to become the best version of themselves. This team will hold each other accountable to create moments of action within moments of opportunity, to turn obstacles into opportunities for growth, and to constantly strive and achieve what others perceive to be impossible. We call, we close, we conquer. We are a force. We are a family. We are West Houston. And then we say Warriors, and it goes out, and it's just a really good, and they leave just like feeling good, and they're part of that team. And then it's like, hey, let's head to team night, or hey, we're doing this, or people are heading out to demos because now we end at 7, and so some people stay because they still need to get booked up. Hey, you can stay and keep phoning. The office is still open until 9. Then other people have demos. They head to demos, and we're like, hey, excited to see a lot of you guys tomorrow for phone jam. And so when you're wrapping up, you got to look to see who's not booked up, and you're like, all right, so what time are you coming tomorrow? Okay, what time are you coming tomorrow? And getting their arrival time, and say, hey, right after we're done with phone time, we have team night on Thursday night. So there'll be water pong, going on tomorrow night. Last week they had poker night, sometimes it's whatever, wings, Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever it is, but just doing something with the team. You got 4 minutes left. What else?
Collecting PRs at team meeting, how do y'all do that?
Huh?
Does it collecting PRs at team meeting?
Well, typically in advanced training on Monday, they put up statuses. So in the last 2 days, they've collected more phone numbers. More people have inquired. So someone, a receptionist rep, can go around and say, hey, who else has commented on your stuff? Who do you have that we can contact while you're here? Also, when they came in, or in the beginning, we put up statuses, or now right in the beginning when we kick off the phone jam, the person will go around and go, hey, did you put up a status yet? Oh, can you put one up real quick? And then say, hey, as people comment or ask you like, oh, what is it, where, whatever, just say, dude, what's your number? I'll call you right now. And just get them on the phone and pass them over to me. So there's people that put up statuses earlier and they comment on them. There's people that put status up there. So there's always people to talk to, always. I've never had a meeting where I didn't have people to talk to. They always have people. So I'm always targeting the new class, but the veterans are also posting, and the veterans are always, there's always some people, or the people who are gunning for the cruise or whatever it is, that always have people for you to talk to.
What do you do?
Huh?
What do you do during?
Set PRs. That's it. When I'm at a team meeting, I'm setting PRs. I'm grabbing my top guys and making sure that they're set up to rock for that week to get on the newsletter. And I'm like, who else can I meet of your friends? I want 5 more of you. Who else can I meet of your friends? Jacob, anything else?
Thank you for giving us the goods.
Yeah, well,
you had one question for us.
Yeah, my question was, what did you hear that for you went on, that you're like, oh wow, that you feel can make a difference, or that hasn't been happening, or that you feel could really be a game changer in terms of like having great meetings? What stood out to you?
Whenever you said that they have to have a desire to want to be in the team meeting, and that's all going to start from us, and really how we promote it. And then also like how you were talking and training, they're talking about something because of a conversation. And it'll be a lot simpler for reps to have those combos with each other if they enjoy being there.
Yeah, you've got to get them there. And before the meeting, it's like, dude, Frank's speaking tomorrow, or dude, Anita's speaking tomorrow on this, or you got to be promoting it like that week of like what's happening. Be like, come with pen and paper, dude, ready to take notes. And like, you know, don't forget, like RJ will be there and Gonzalez and like Miranda and like everyone's going to be there. So this is a time where you want to come with questions, you know, like what can you improve in your business? What can you get better at? So when we take a quick little mingle break, like in the middle of the phone jam, you can do like a 5-minute, all right, mix and mingle, you know, and then they can like ask questions, talk to each other. And then it's like, all right, back on it. And we get back on the phones. Like that's a good way for them to feel good that they're always getting value and they get access to those people. So I like a 10-minute, you know, break in the middle of the phone jam for them to mingle. You know, just depends on the structure of stuff. But I like them having that access. Gets them up, move energy around, and then, all right, boom, let's get back on it, you know? So that's something that can be done. But when someone misses a team meeting, so you cannot, like, guys, someone says, oh, I can't make it because I have what? I'm like, huh? And you're kind of like confused. Be like, okay. Be like, what's happening? I'd be like, all right. And because there's two parts of this. You know, one part is, hey, you know, from the interview, you know, we talked about there's, for our guys, you know, we loan them a kit, whatever, and be like, oh, we see our guys twice a week. They come by to do all their payroll stuff, turn in their paperwork. They have to check in their kit, you know, come by and check in, check out twice a week. They come by on Sundays to do all their paychecks, turn in all their paperwork, turn in their stuff. And Wednesdays, we have our team meeting. So this is one of the only parts of the job, you know, that's indefinitely at the schedule. You get to make the rest of your schedule, but this is a definite time. You know, what happened? Like, well, where do we not plan ahead? Like, oh, I had this test, and be like, all right. And I'm like, well, and you need to like deliver properly, but I'm just like, okay. And I just asked them, like, well, let me ask you, like, if you worked at Macy's, would you just like not show up? I'm like, in any job, like they just be like, okay, you don't have a job, right? Like you just study afterwards. Like you want to make sure you plan ahead. I know this job is flexible. I was like, team meetings aren't flexible. Team meetings are an expectation of the job. That's why we talk about it in the interview. Our guys come here twice a week. Everything else they get to do and be like, and we want to help you. We want to support you. We want to help you succeed. And we know that what we provide at the meetings and just having access to the top people and getting that chance to get together with you guys is going to help you keep improving as a sales representative. There's always stuff that you learn, things that you go through and be like, so I'd rather have you here for some of it than none of it. What's your schedule look like? Like even someone has like mom's birthday party or da-da-da. I'm like, okay. I always tell them, I'm like, make sure your family knows that on Wednesdays you work. So what can we do? You know, like, what can we do? What can we move around? I'd rather have you here for some of it than none of it, dude. I want to see you succeed. And I know this is an integral component of our people succeeding. And I've had people that were like, okay, let me check with my mom. Okay, I'll come. And they came for an hour and then they had to go, you know, but still they get there. You know, like you want them there. You want them there for part of it. Ideally the first part where it's all the recognition and the vision painting and the excitement. And then it's like, dude, I know you can't stay. Make sure to talk to your family. Make sure you plan ahead. Wednesdays, we need you here from blank to blank, and then you can go take care of your stuff. Make sure that time's always blocked off, all right? For some reason you can't make it. I know we do have some people that have Wednesday night class. They come on Thursday, but I'd rather have you on Wednesday because that way you get to be here with everybody else. So making sure that they, you know, that they know that they come here twice a week. So that's really important, you know. And then the next day, like if anyone that missed it, whether I knew they were going to miss it because they're in class, like they have night school, or someone was allowed to go, I always am like, dude, you missed Frank's talk last night? It was freaking sick. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, dude. I was like, he gave some awesome keys on blank, like whatever it is, like the lesson of the day. I always like blow it up the next day. And if they went, I'm like, hey Anita, what did you take away from last night? What was your favorite part? What did you learn? And she's like, oh, I really liked it. I'm like, oh, wasn't that awesome? Or wasn't that wrap up awesome that Jacob gave? And they're like, oh yeah. I'd be like, yeah, dude. Be like, oh, I'm really glad you're here. Super excited to see you keep growing and developing and see you become one of our top people. And they feel good. So it's like, hey, thanks for taking the time out. Thanks for being here. We're super stoked to like help you succeed. So on PDI on Thursday, like, do they feel good that they were there? Are they reselling themselves like, oh, I love this or I love that? I'm like, oh, it's awesome. So they're kind of like reselling themselves on what they took from it and what they liked from it. And then the people that missed, I'm like, dude, you missed this. And they're like, no. I'm like, you got to make sure you get notes from, you know, Anita. And so that way you can be caught up. Be like, it's not the same. You're not going to be caught up because you like missed the meeting and the delivery, and you can't like remake that unless we just ran another team meeting just for you, which we're not going to do. But make sure, dude, moving forward, like make sure you have that night open. It's a big night. Really important, you know? And if someone's giving me like bullshit, you know, I'll be like, hey dude, on a pay note, like part of the guaranteed pay, like Jacob pays a guaranteed base pay. But to have that, like, we expect people to clock in and out. They need to turn in their time card. They need to come here twice a week. The stuff we talked about in the interview. Be like, if not, you can work on your own as an independent rep straight for Vector, but you don't have the guaranteed base pay. So for us to be able to guarantee the insurance, there's certain things that we need from our representatives, and we want to support you guys to help you get better and better. So if someone's not showing up, they're not part of the team, you know, they can just go work on their own or work elsewhere. But if you're going to be here, we want to help support you. We want to see you keep growing and get better in your skills. And we know that meetings are a big part of that, of being able to get together, thinking bigger about what's possible, asking questions about what you need help with, and always learning something from one of our top people. Cool? All right, awesome. Well, you guys have a great